Hello again. I doubt if anybody watching this is altogether immune to the magic of Christmas. It is a time of year for goodwill towards each other, and children are the especial focus of our emotions. Although Christianity is on the decline in Europe, there's no sign of any lessening of enthusiasm for the festival which takes place close to the shortest day of the year. The very fact that it does take place at this time of year, just when the days begin to grow longer, lends an extra charm. Ostensibly, our Christmas celebrations are centred around the myth of the God who was born as a helpless baby, and this is a very potent image. The deity born of an innocent virgin. I'm bound to say that I, like most people, do not believe this to be literally true. And yet, when I gaze upon representations of the Nativity, as I have been over the last few days, it doesn't seem to matter to me. I sing sacred songs about the Godhead veiled in flesh, and gentle Jesus, meek and mild, and these evoke a feeling deep within me. I know that when I hear elevated sentiments, that I am not a good person, and that I am indeed a sinner, as we are often reminded at this time of year. I don't dwell on this uncomfortable truth all that much during most of the year, but at Christmas, when I hear that God came into the world as a human child to try and save me and the rest of mankind, I am aware that if it were true, then I would be very glad of it. Because of the way that our calendar is arranged, with Christmas coming a week before the New Year, this causes an awful lot of people who, like me, are not Christians and don't really believe in the virgin birth and all the other trappings of the mythology, to resolve to be better people in the coming year. I've talked to a few people about this and found that they have similar feelings. This desire to change for the better is expressed in our New Year's resolutions, which are often influenced or even precipitated by the emotions which have been stirred in us by contemplating the nativity story. Then too, there is the generosity and open-handedness which almost everybody displays at Christmas. Donations to charity rise at this time of year, and more money is given to beggars and homeless people. Even those of us like me who do little enough for those less fortunate than ourselves during the rest of the year feel the impulse to share their good fortune with others. There is a mood of goodwill to all men and women in the air, and whatever the cause, that cannot fail to be a good and wholesome thing. Sometimes myths contain profound truths, even if they're not literally true and accurate narratives. We find this in literature, of course, and reading an account of some noble character in a novel who behaves in a self-sacrificing way can have much the same effect as reading scripture stories. When we read of the way in which Mary at once submitted herself to the will of God, when the archangel told her that the Lord had a plan for her, we're impressed with her simple acceptance of the divine will. The thumbnail to this video shows a scene at the Christmas market in Prague this evening, which honestly looks like something from a Disney cartoon. The good nature of all the people there was a joy to behold. Everybody was smiling and cheerful, and I certainly saw the beggars receiving far more alms than they had been doing over the last day or two. I'd be curious to know how many people viewing this video feel the same about this matter. Sometimes I'm tempted to dismiss the Christmas spirit as a kind of sentimental relic of my childhood, when first I learned the words of the carols which I now sing with such pleasure. I attend church over Advent and Christmas, although seldom during the rest of the year. It is, of course, entirely possible that this is just an old person piece of nonsense, because we've certainly been making the rounds of churches while in the city here. Many old people become devout as they get older, perhaps in hope of currying favour with the deity before their death. I think, though, that there is more to it than this. I think that Christmas is a major part of European civilisation and that it's something which we should cherish and preserve. I can quite see why there have been Islamist attacks on Christmas markets in Europe in the past, such as those in Berlin and Strasbourg a few years ago. It must be very irritating to strict and puritanical Muslims to see a lot of Christians and atheists smiling and being unfailingly good-natured to each other at this time of year. Perhaps those who plot such attacks can see more clearly than we ourselves just how important Christmas is to our culture. I must apologise for all the background noise and distracting visions, by the way. I'm spending the night at Prague airport due to circumstances beyond my control. So perhaps the background's going to be a little more chaotic than it normally is for these videos.